Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out. Let's get started. Our first one comes from Dramatic Belt 1450. Am I the beehole for telling my mom I would not help her stepdaughter if homeless? My mom is married to a guy named John. Mom has me, a 20-year-old male, and John has Britt, an 18-year-old female. Mom married John when I was 7. She had been divorced from my dad since I was a baby, and my dad actually died a few weeks before Mom's wedding. Britt lived with her mom in another state until after the wedding, and then John got sole custody of her when she was 7. Britt was awful to live with. She was messed up from a lot of stuff and took it out on others. She mocked and insulted my disabled grandma and took her prosthetic leg once and left it in the mud. She wrote all over the photo I had of my dad in my room. She taunted me that everyone was glad that he was dead. She messed with my homework a lot. It got so bad my teachers knew the deal and let me do it at the end of the school day and hand it up so it'd be safe. Mom's best friend died when Britt was 14, while the rest of us were at the funeral. She destroyed the friendship bracelet Mom had with her best friend. She also tried to get me into trouble over the years by telling her grandparents I bullied her. Britt ended up going to live with her mom when she was 15. My relationship with Mom became strained because Mom wanted me to leave the door ajar for Britt and I said no. Not to mention, I feel like Mom made me deal with way too much. A year ago, my mom and John got an apology from Britt and they were in touch with her. Mom didn't tell me at the time because I had made it clear I did not care about Britt or wanted to hear about updates from her. Last month, Britt moved in with Mom and John because she's pregnant and her mom had done some stuff with Britt's baby and father. After Britt moved in with them, Mom tried to convince me to let Britt apologize and to be in her life, so Britt's child could have an uncle. I said no. Mom said, at least we should come to an understanding. Because, what if Britt and her child need me in the future? What if she moves out in a couple years and falls on hard times and needs a place to stay and she and John are not there? I told her I would not take her even if she was homeless with her kid. I said, Britt does not have my loyalty or my kindness. Britt is someone I do not want in my life. Mom said how awful I was and went off on a tangent about Britt being homeless. I told her she better make sure Britt always has a place to stay with her then, so she'll never have to worry about being homeless. Mom said that was a given, and how dare I imply otherwise, but that I should not be such a cold-hearted monster about a member of the family. I told her Britt is not my family. As far as I'm concerned, she can couch surf for the rest of her life. I wouldn't lift a finger to help her. That's her job since she clung so desperately to her at my expense as a kid. Mom says she raised me better. Her anger and bringing this up has not ended, and she is convinced I'm an awful person for my stance. Am I the beehole? Hi, OP. You are not the beehole in this one. This is the consequences of Britt's actions in being a bloody ghoul. And you took the necessary actions to protect yourself and to get away from this horrible person who is making your life worse. Your mom sounds like a bit of a beehole too, because she needs to respect that. She isn't blind, she isn't deaf, she knows what happened between you and Britt growing up. Also, this is a consequence of your mother and your father's actions too. Why weren't they parents? Why weren't they, getting that horrible attitude out of her? But I don't have much to say about the solution to the problem, because it sounds like you're handling it exactly the way I would say to handle it. I would go non-contact, and I would never want Britt in my life at all after the horrible things she's done. Keep doing what you're doing, OP. And our next one comes from No Target 8175. Am I the beehole for telling my parents that I'm behaving exactly the way they raised me to behave? Using a throwaway for evident reasons. I am a middle kid. My older brother is the golden child, and my sister is the baby and always got her way. I was mostly ignored. I was fine with it. I got into lots of trouble, but my parents didn't really care enough to either punish me or help me through it. My guidance counselor in high school took an interest in me though. She saw something. I hope that everyone who needs it has someone like her. She saw that my parents really didn't get involved in my education. She stepped up. She helped me find out what I love. She motivated me enough that I got a full ride scholarship, which was good because my parents had no money for me. I'm 30 now and planning my wedding. It's going to be a destination wedding. Because I want it small, we are paying for only our 6 guests to come. my future in-laws, mom, dad, brother, and sister, and my maternal grandparents. That's it. We're going to have a big party for friends and family when we get back. I'm not non-contact with my family, I just don't make any effort to talk to them. And they reciprocate. They did find out about the wedding though. They all want to come. I said they were welcome and I sent them invitations. They asked if I needed anything to help set up their travel plans. I said that they needed to get there on their own. They were invited, but I wasn't paying. They said that they had raised me better than that, and that I was paying for my fiance's family, so I should pay for them too. Hard no. Hard. I told him that the fact was that my fiance is the one paying. She earns about the same as me, but she has a settlement from her first marriage. I did not tell them about the settlement. They again said they raised me better than to ignore the family. The same people who skipped my graduation from high school and university. I have a million other examples, but I think that says it all. I just replied that I was happy that they were interested in being a part of my wedding day, and that I hoped they could make it, but fully understood if they gave it a pass. I said that they were the ones who raised me to think of myself as not really being a part of the family, so I was already behaving exactly the way they raised me. You are not the be-all, and that last sentence was basically, you made me this way. That was nice. Also, looking down the comments, one commenter said, what they said, we raised you better than that. What they meant was, give me a free vacation. I couldn't agree more. OP, I think you're being very generous with them, even sending them an invitation to the wedding. Personally, I wouldn't have, because like you said, they want nothing to do with you for the most part. But go and enjoy your wedding. If they make it, cool. If they don't make it, oh well, nothing changes, right? Our next one comes from Ross Buchan. Am I the beehole for not wanting to split the $1,200 euro vet bill with her for accidentally poisoning our dog with grapes? My girlfriend and I recently rehomed a dog from a horrible home, but everything has been going really well and he's been recovering great, getting his first ever vet checkups, vaccines, neutering, etc., and all the vet bills have been split 50-50. He is still uninsured as we still have one vaccine left. Next week, until that point, any treatment we need to pay up front. Yesterday, I got home from work and my girlfriend wanted to show me the dog's new favorite treat, grapes. I was shocked to say the least. So off to the emergency vets we go. The treatment we got him was the gold standard, to reduce the risk of any long-term impact on his liver/kidneys. However, this then cost 1,200 euros. I do believe she made a genuine mistake, but the way I see it is that this is dog ownership 101. She is a dog person, having had dogs her whole life. For her negligence, I've had the stress of nearly losing my dog, and less concerning, pay 600 euros. Am I the beehole for asking her to cover this bill because she poisoned our dog? Edit. Adding info for questions. Some people are reading this like I alone chose to go to the vets and selected the treatment. Once she realized she was feeding the dog poison, she was devastated, and we both decided to go straight to the ER vet. As it was late night, why the cost was so high. We both then took advice and went with the best course of treatment to reduce long-term issues. We both don't split all our bills. For example, the car is in my name and I take full responsibility for the finances on that. Also, the flat we both live in is mine, and I also take full financial responsibility. She doesn't pay rent, which I'm happy with because I love her. We're both professionals, so the odd 600 euros isn't hugely detrimental to our finances. For me, I know if the shoe was on the other foot, I would pay it all in a heartbeat and not let her open her purse. We both earn reasonably similar salaries, mine slightly higher. We saw diarrhea and increased water drinking before we called the vet. Very unusual for our dog. We have multiple friends who are vets, and have all confirmed that what we did was the right thing to do, and they are not making any money from the fiasco. Hi OP, before we get started, I wanted to see what would happen if a dog eats grapes. I know you can't feed a dog chocolate because of the theobromide, but from what I understand, they can only die if they eat their body weight in chocolate, so I'm not too sure about that, but that's what I've heard my whole life. But let's see what happens when a dog eats grapes. So, it says on the Google, when a dog eats grapes of any kind and any form, they are at risk at kidney, renal failure. All types of grapes, whether cooked, seedless, peeled, dry, or fresh, are toxic to dogs. Even in small amounts, you should also avoid giving your dog any grape products such as raisins, juices, jelly, or jam. Good to know. But as to your situation, OP, no, you're not the beehole. I think I said that already. You agreed to 50-50 with the dog care. This is dog care, and she's the one who caused this problem, and sounds like you aren't being mean to her, taking it out on her, and making her feel bad. Our final one comes from Fearless Studio 7676. Am I the beehole for making my stepdaughter leave the restaurant for disrespecting the waiter? I, a 42-year-old male, was dining with my wife and kids yesterday. That included Haley, a 16-year-old female who's my stepdaughter. We had picked a relatively expensive restaurant as we thought it'd be better to do things properly, as we were going out together for the first time in a while. During dinner, while the waiter was serving us one of the dishes, he accidentally tripped or something. I think he might have lost his grip. I'm not sure, but some of it fell into Haley's clothes, ruining it. He apologized immediately, but she got livid at him. She proceeded to call him a beastard, saying, "Why are you a GD waiter if you can't even watch where you're going? You're already paid low, so I'd have thought you'd be more careful." She was shouting, and almost everyone was looking at us now. I was shocked and asked her to apologize for that. She refused by saying she does not have to, as he ruined her dress. I asked her to apologize repeatedly, but she did not listen. In the end, I told her that I might not be able to force her to apologize, but that I can definitely refuse to pay for her. I asked her to get out of the restaurant. She began screaming and protested. I did not relent, and in the end result, she had to leave. My wife lashed out at me, saying that I overreacted, that though what she said might have been wrong, it did not warrant asking her to leave. Am I the beehole? OP, you are not the beehole. I'm looking in the comments, and Bad Groceries said exactly what I was thinking. That your stepdaughter was out of line, and you are justified in your punishment. If she can't behave herself, then she's not going to be there. It was absolutely disgraceful for her to punch down on someone who made an honest mistake. And he goes on to say, not to disrespect you and your wife in the slightest, but she isn't helping here, and I agree. She's enabling this horrible behavior and making your stepdaughter a terrible person. The way someone interacts with staff and stuff like that is usually a red flag if someone is mean and cruel to them like that. So she's being raised to not be a great person. And you weren't overreacting. What your stepdaughter did was overreacting. She should have been corrected right then and there by her biological parent, her mom. She's young, so it looks like you have time to try and fix that terrible attitude of hers. Like I said in a previous video, I agreed everyone should have to work a service job for at least a year so they can understand what, it's all about and have some respect for these people. I mean, she's 16, she can work. I would say let her get a job and see what it's like on the other side. Alright, and that is it for this one. Thank you for making it to the end with me. Can you please do what I said in the beginning and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out. Velvet out.